Hi everyone, Dr. Kalaiko here, and I'm not here to talk to you about COVID-19 vaccines today, but I am here to speak about another public health threat, and that's racism. Specifically, I'm speaking on the violent hate crimes that have been committed against the Asian American community over the past couple of weeks. These hate crimes have really intensified since the pandemic started and have become more and more frequent over the past couple of weeks. So a couple of weeks ago, 84-year-old Vicha Ratanapakdi was out taking his morning walk when a young man came and shoved him to the ground and killed him. This week in San Leandro, an elder Asian man was robbed at an ATM, also shoved to the ground and left bleeding from the head. Last weekend in New Haven, Connecticut, Yale grad student and Army veteran Kevin Jang was shot to death. In Oakland, in the past week, we've had a 70-year-old grandmother robbed and pushed to the ground. In a separate incident, a young man violently shoved 3 elders, including a 91-year-old, to the ground, causing one of them to lose consciousness. In downtown Los Angeles last week, a couple was robbed and shot in broad daylight in front of their 2-year-old child. In New York City, 61-year-old Noel Quintana, an elder Filipino man, was slashed across his face from ear to ear. In Pennsylvania, a 19-year-old Filipino boy, Christian Hall, was suffering a mental health crisis, and he had his hands up when the police shot him to death. In Milwaukee, an Asian woman was gang raped and murdered. Last summer in Brooklyn, an 89-year-old Chinese-American grandmother was set on fire. And last spring at a Sam's Club in Texas, a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old were stabbed along with their parents because the suspect thought they were Chinese. I have a 6-year-old child, and I haven't stopped thinking about that family and the trauma that they're living ever since. These are just a few examples from the nearly 3,000 hate crimes and harassment incidents that have happened to Asian Americans in the US since the pandemic started. We know that that number is underreported because there's a lot of incidents that don't go reported. I'm guessing many of you may not have heard of all or any of these incidents because they're not reported in the mainstream news media. And there's a reason for that. Asian Americans are severely underrepresented in the media, and those that have influence and decision-making power decide which stories matter. And as it turns out, stories that involve Asian Americans don't matter. So imagine the impact this has had on the Asian American and Pacific Islander community. It's hard to sleep, it's hard to work, it's hard to function. So I have an ask for all of you. First of all, to my fellow Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, if you or anyone you know experience harassment or violence, please report it at stopaapihate.org. I'll put links to all of my resources down below in the comments. And please reach out for support to loved ones, to mental health professionals. Follow Asians for Mental Health on social media. They're a great resource for mental health. And again, I'll link to all my resources below. To everybody, Asians and non-Asians, please follow Next Shark. It's a source for Asian American news, and it will make you aware of what's happening in our community. And please share these stories and amplify them, because that will ensure that more people see these stories and are aware of them. Also, Asian American Collective has a petition that it would be great if you could sign that, because they're asking for more mainstream media coverage of our stories. To all of our non-Asian friends, we need you to be our allies and active accomplices in this. And so I'll tag more accounts that you can follow so you can be aware of Asian American news and perspectives. But I would like you to please share these posts and condemn the violence. Invite your community to do the same. It can't just be Asians talking to one another. We really need all of your help to spread the word and denounce the violence. Because solidarity with all communities is really our only hope at dismantling the white supremacist structures that have pitted minority groups against each other for so many years. So I'm asking you to please do this for all of us. Finally, and this is one of the most powerful things that you can do, is to interrupt the seemingly small things that oftentimes we just let slide. So when a family member says a racist comment or makes a racist joke about Asian people eating bats or eating dogs or whatever it might be, please interrupt that behavior. Say something like, "What did you mean by that?" Or let them know, "You probably didn't mean it this way, but words like that feed into stereotypes about Asian people and contribute to violent hate crimes against the community." And maybe they might shrug it off and say, "It was just a joke, don't be so sensitive." But the goal is not to change their mind in that moment. The goal is just to interrupt the behavior and plant a seed, because you never know, they might think twice next time before they start perpetuating these ideas again. Thank you for listening.